what it is you're going to do and what staff and the planning commission thought of it. And we value their advice, but we up here at the table discuss it and make up our own minds. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna tell you folks, like I told the last of 5 difficult cases. Nice elderly couple had sat through all kinds of stuff, and all they wanted was something rather minor. And I shouldn't have said what I did. I told them I was pretty sure they were likely to be approved. We could probably do that in 5 minutes, or we could take half an hour to do it. And they said, 5 minutes works for us. Now, the planning commission, I think, spent 20 minutes to review your 3 cases. I'm not determined to try to hold it to that, but, we could give it a shot.
There you go, buddy.
We have a couple of little bit of sort of housekeeping to take care of, which, without objection, can we wait until after we finish the agenda, because it wouldn't be that interesting to these folks. I introduced our solicitor, sort of, Andy Harrell. Our stenographer is, can't read my own writing, Christine Myers, is York County name. And the board was one vacancy, is Sina Jenkins, Adam Nugent, Nick Goldman, and I'm Franklin Williams, currently chair of the board. Yep, you're at the right place. I double checked mine and yours. When your case is called, we'll ask you to come to the podium and tell us as succinctly as you can what it is you want to do with the property involved. And you already know the recommendation. Actually, I think staff and the planning commission have recommended that we approve everything. We value their recommendation, but like I said, we make up our own mind. When you are up at the podium, please speak. Don't swallow the microphone, but try to speak loud and clear, 3 or 4 or 5 inches from it. That will work best not only for everyone here in the room, but our meeting is being streamed live on YouTube, and we need to be kind and considerate to our studio audience, not studio audience out in the, and we're also honored by the presence of 2 members of City Council. And I'm genuinely glad to see both of them. If you have a cell phone, please turn it either off or to vibrate. I always say we'd all enjoy the William Tell Literature, but we'd rather not hear it in the middle of somebody's testimony. What did I forget?
One person at a time.
Oh, absolutely, thank you. One person at a time, and somebody made a bit of a mistake in front of the planning commission. They carried on a little bit of conversation. This was the person testifying at the podium, carried on a little bit of conversation with a colleague who was sitting several feet away, and so that part of the conversation, I don't know how important it was, but it was not picked up. Only, and I realize now, I'm not following my own advice. I like to think I almost grew up on a farm, so I think I project fairly well, but I need to speak into the microphone, and everyone needs to speak into the microphone, or they will think that you are a mime. Will everyone who might testify in a case, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give here this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Let the record reflect that all potential witnesses were duly sworn. And I think we can start. Would you read in our first case?
I would be happy to. I thought I would. The first case this evening is case number 1-2024-V. So I'm sorry, -SE. The applicant is Nam Hoang of 5405 Rainbow Drive, East Petersburg, Pennsylvania, 17520. The owner of the subject property is Dionisio Acosta of 5 Jared Place, Lidditz, Pennsylvania, 17543. The subject property is located at 1000 East Philadelphia Street, which address is located in the UN2 Urban Residential Neighborhood Zoning District of the City of York. The applicant seeks a special exception to permit a barber shop in the UN2 zoning district, a use permitted by special exception in the UN2 zone. The application was reviewed by the planning staff of the City of York. The planning staff inadvertently recommended approval of a variance to permit a neighborhood barber shop. I note, however, that the neighborhood barber shop is a use permitted by special exception in the UN2 zone. According to the draft minutes of the York City Planning Commission, the Planning Commission took action on a variance as well, but I was not there. I don't know if that's accurate. They took action on a variance?
Yeah, on the variance and not a special exception.
Okay. How was it advertised?
I believe Nancy advertised it as a variance.
Okay. It was advertised as a variance. I think that from a legal standpoint, I see no reason to not move forward tonight. I note that a variance is a bit of a more stringent, has more stringent requirements than a special exception. So presumably anybody that would have been interested in opposing a variance would also be here opposing a special exception. And we'll see if there is anybody here to oppose that.
And you found case law for me several months ago that the zoning hearing board can proceed, if we choose to, without any recommendation from the planning commission.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. The planning commission is advisory only, so. So with that, the record before the board this evening consists of the application itself, the deed to the subject property, a 9-page lease agreement, 1 page of hand-drawn floor plans, 6 photos of the subject property, and a 1-page map of the area in which the subject property is located.
Question, are we looking to approve a variance or the?
Special exception. I'm sorry, yes, special exception. So we're, and
That in the record?
yes, and the application itself is for a special exception. So I think that, everything is in order to proceed with that special exception.
Thank you.
Could you
Thank
go
you.
ahead and state your name and who you are and your address, please?
My name's Nam Huang. My address is 5405 Rainbow Drive, East Petersburg, Pennsylvania.
Thanks.
Could you just give us a little background on what you're proposing? Well,
I'm proposing to put a 6-chair barber shop in the specified location on 1000 East Philadelphia Street, York, Pennsylvania.
It's a beautiful property, and it's required to be at an intersection of 2 main streets, which might help you with visibility, but I have to, East Petersburg is a lovely little town.
Yes, it is.
I can understand somebody living there, but with traffic what it is nowadays, is there any possibility that you might think about wanting to live in York? We have some very nice neighborhoods.
Yeah, I mean, I own a home in East Petersburg, and I've been working in York for the last 15 years. So,
And you probably like Hayden Zuggs.
well, Hayden Zug is no more, but it is,
Oh, whatever it is now.
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I digressed. So, and you told the planning commission, I believe, that you expect to be operating from 9 to 7,
That's the typical hours that we work, yes.
6 days a week?
Yes, sir.
And from your diagram, it looked like you are going to be able to have 3 chairs? Did
It
I
will be
see that
it'll be
right?
a total of 6 chairs, 3 on each side.
I got a question, and it's really not pertaining to you and your business, but the rest of the building, is there people living in apartments above the,
There, right now, currently, there's a, on the other side of the first floor, there's a tenant that's in there, and then there's an apartment above us that's vacant at the moment.
okay? Is there anybody here that's gonna speak possibly for or against this? Okay, I'm just curious, do the neighbors have any issues with you as far as having a barber shop in there?
Not that nobody has came to me and specified anything any different.
I see the pictures of the, what you've already started in there, it looks really nice, I mean, it looks like a nice little shop, and as our chairman said, it is a nice looking house and nice area, so I really don't have any other issues.
You have access to public water there,
Yes,
public sewer?
yes.
How would you describe the traffic that will result?
As far as the clientele,
Vehicle traffic.
all of the barbers that work for me, we work off of appointments, so it would be based off of who they had each day at whatever particular time that their clients are set for.
Is there parking, is parking out on the street, or is there?
Yeah, just residential parking. Yeah.
And Monty, it does meet the arterial and collector street.
Yes, and this property used to be, it was a credit union in there before, and they never went through the zoning process to get it switched over, so the commercial unit was always there. They just didn't have anybody in there.
Okay.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yes.
Has state board come in yet to give you,
I'm basically just waiting on the zoning because there's really no point unless I get approved before I start doing that process, because I have a whole list of things that I need to do just for the state as well. So to answer your question, no, I have not yet.
okay. And do you have another barber shop in York?
No. We rented on over here on Philadelphia 200 block of Philadelphia Street. We've been there for about 10 years, and our lease was up, and the landlord didn't want to extend our lease, so that's why we moved.
Okay, okay. I knew the name of it was familiar.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for 10 years?
I've worked in York for the last 15 years, but I've been cutting hair for about 25 years
Nice.
now.
So the place in 200 is not gonna be there anymore?
The building is there. I don't know what they plan on doing with that space, but yeah.
No, my son used to go to your barber shop then, so, okay.
Yep.
I have no questions.
And I believe it was established that there is no one in the audience regarding this case. Would someone like to offer a motion?
I'll, in case 1-2024-Z-V, at 1000 East Philadelphia Street, I'll move to approve a variance to allow a neighborhood barber shop.
It's a special exception.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Special exception to allow a neighborhood barber shop use as defined in section 1304.01-4.09.006 at 1000 East Philadelphia Street in the UN2 zoning district.
I second.
It's been moved by Mr. Nugent, seconded by Ms. Jenkins, to approve the special exception to permit the barber shop. Calling for the vote, Ms. Jenkins.
Aye.
Jenkins, aye. Mr. Nugent.
Aye.
Nugent, aye. Mr. Holman.
Aye.
Holman, aye. And Williams, aye. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Ready for number 2?
Ready.
Okay, the next case is case number 2-2024-Z-V. The applicant is Joe Musso of 43 North Duke Street, York, Pennsylvania, 17401. The owner of the subject property is the redevelopment authority of the city of York, having an address of 101 South George Street, York, Pennsylvania, 17401. Subject property is located at 469 West Hope Avenue, which address is located in the UN2 Urban Residential Neighborhood Zoning District of the City of York. The applicant seeks 2 variances. First, the applicant seeks to permit the subject property to be used as an apartment combined with commercial. Second, the applicant seeks a variance to reduce the required number of off-street parking for the proposed use. The application was reviewed by the planning staff of the City of York. The planning staff recommends approval of both requested variances. The case was heard by the City of York Planning Commission on January 8, 2024. By way of unanimous vote, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the requested variances. The record before the board this evening consists of the application itself, 2 sheets of plans from Musso Development Services, and a 5-page redevelopment agreement.
I have put on the record on at least 1 or 2 previous cases that Joe has brought as a professional planner, that he and I have been friends for quite a few years, and it's based on our mutual understanding that that will not affect my vote or what I have to say about his presentation. He knows if he ever brings us a dud, I'll call it that, but I'm not too worried about that happening. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nice to be here tonight. Hello to everybody. These properties, you may or may not have been aware of them. They are a rather obscure location in the city. They're on Hope Avenue, which in effect is an alley. They were begun at some point, I'm not sure when, you may know, Mr. Chair, when that started, but they built a nice exterior, they roofed it well, and they just did some general, no walls in there, just some studs all the way through this, and at some point they quit. The redevelopment authority took them over, and they've been sitting since that time. We now have this nonprofit, Miss Bobby's House, who has purchased these through the redevelopment authority. There's 5 units. We have approved 4 of them. Building permits have already been issued, and I think 2 of them are lived in. I'll let the gentleman come up and talk about it. This is John and Zach King, Miss Bobby's Place, and maybe it'd be a good time for you to come up, Zach, and just tell us what you do there.
Hi.
Aye.
First of all, really appreciate your time. Miss Bobby's Place is an organization that supports homeless families. We provide transitional housing for them. Normally, they're with us 6 months to a year. We partnered with Community Progress Council and their self-sufficiency program. We have a board, obviously we're a 501c3. My mom is a retired social worker, so she handles the programming aspect for the families for Miss Bobby's Place. It kind of just started as a family thing. We wanted to help people. We've been really blessed to have those 5 properties and kind of continuing on this mission. I'm a school teacher. Everybody on our board is completely volunteer and nobody makes a cent out of what we're doing. This vision started for me about 6 years ago. I was a teacher at McKinley. I taught 7th and 8th grade. I had a student that came in, was acting crazy, and I pulled him aside in the hallway and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And he looked up at me and he said, "I don't know where I'm staying tonight." That kind of lit a fire in me that has continued to this day, and I think it's going to continue for a while. Our goal is simply to help people that are in need. We've been really fortunate through community partners to be able to do that successfully thus far. This 5th unit is going to provide us a little bit of flexibility. The units are about a little over 1,600 square feet, 3 stories, and a basement. So having a unit with a first floor where we can meet with our families is going to really help us and Community Progress Council as we work with the families and put things in place to help them. And the 2nd and 3rd floor being a unit will be a smaller unit, which as far as organizationally allows us to help maybe a single mom with 1 or 2 kids, as opposed to having a huge place with 3 floors where maybe a floor isn't being used. So as an organization, it provides us a little bit of flexibility in whom we're allowed to help.
This building is currently unoccupied. It's been,
Yeah, so we've had it, 3 units we have finished 3 units. They have certificate of occupancy, and we officially bought them through the RDA. We have 3 families in there right now, which has been great. We've had about a total of 8 families total in our time working with them. 4th unit drywall is actually getting hung today. So 4th unit's probably a month or 2 away, and then we'll be able to have a family in there. As Joe stated, we're just kind of on to the next one and trying to plan for the 5th unit. At our court, we just want to help people. We're trying to do things the right way. And we've been really fortunate with our community partners to be able to do that. I think at my core is that fire of that little kid that I see every day. I do everything that I do outside of school. My wife and I are both teachers. My father's construction worker. Our board has a lot of special skills that kind of have come together to form just a really solid organization with the end game of just helping families that are in need.
Questions for Zach?
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
Hey, when he says nobody gets paid, that includes me too, so. So the reason we're here for this 5th unit is because we want, as he said, Zach said, we want to do things a little differently here. And they'd like to have that first floor to be used for their office in order to as a meeting place type of thing. 2nd and 3rd floor would be a separate unit which could be used for a smaller family in this situation. Would also request a variance to the parking requirement because there just is nowhere to go on Hoop Avenue. If you'd like, I can go through some of the unique items about this property. Obviously, it was deteriorating and it was necessary to have something done there, and I don't think could be any better use than what we're proposing. As far as physical conditions, West Hope, as I said, is basically an alley. It does have a used parking lot across the street, which is part of the Dentsply properties. So there's potential there. This is right out in that Dentsply area. And I guess you guys will be hearing about some of what Planning Commission is doing and proposing for that area out there, some of the different changes they are going to recommend to the zoning ordinance. But it's nice that the area around there will begin to be developed, and I think this will be a great part of the neighborhood. I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
The property, I did a Google look at it today when I was reading through this, and it appears there's backyards, and then on the side, right where, I mean, looking at your picture here where the truck is, this side, it seems like there's room, you know, you're looking for a variance on no park, you know, for the parking, but it seems like there's a spot there for at least
I agree
6
with you,
cars.
there is, and we'd like to do that.
Okay.
The only problem is the agreement with the RDA only has these 5 lots right now. I think we're gonna have to go back to the RDA to see if they can get I think there's 2 more lots over there.
There's, yeah, and it just, well, I'm
That the
asking,
RDA
I
has.
guess the question I'm asking is, for what you purchased, does that spot right next to where I'm saying this truck is that part of your property?
No,
No. Okay, so the property line basically goes alongside the buildings on each side, and then has this small little backyard in
that's
it?
correct. And if you look at the agreement with the RDA, it was just specifically for those 5 properties and not any others. I guess the possibility exists there, and I think they're interested in having parking there, but we're just not able to provide it at this time.
Okay. And the backyards you want to continue to use as a backyard? I mean, that's another possibility, because you can go down, I forget what the road is on the side there, on the opposite side where this truck is, I don't remember the road name, but you could, there's a fence back there to cut, you know, for your backyard. You could take the fence down and put parking behind the place, possibly. Sure, you can come back up.
So, just with in the future, we would love to have parking. The back part, is like a communal area for the families that are apart, so
Right.
we won't put parking there. It's more of and these are conversations that I've had with Blanda as well, and kind of that relationship in the future. Is it possible and something we want to do? Absolutely. Just currently with the agreement that we have with the RDA, that's not an option for us. But I do see what you're saying, and there is an opportunity for that, and definitely something we're willing to look into
Okay.
and want to look into.
And to finish the story on the parking, because this usually comes up on the board as a major problem, or at least potential problem, is since it's an alley, it appears, you know, looking again at the pictures, I assume some of these people's cars here, maybe your current, you know, this picture's older, but somebody was living on the very end unit, because when I was doing my Google map thing, you could see all the Christmas stuff or whatever, I think it was Christmas items on the door, and it was the only one that had a gas meter going into it at the time. So I assume parking in the front is fine, and it seems like there's enough of it for whoever's living there. And maybe the potential people that are there don't have cars yet, and maybe you can add that to the story.
Yeah, so we've had families that do have cars, we've had families that don't have cars.
Okay.
So yes, that's a very true statement. We also, the parking in the front has been for families. We've never had any issues with that. Honestly, the only issues we've ever had were people that kind of left cars there.
Okay.
That's been really the only issue, and to be honest, about half those times were people from other streets that just, their car was broken down and parked it there, and we've been able to kind of address that and work through that.
Because it appears that around the townhomes, there's other garages, parking, you know, there's carports, there's a whole bunch of other places where other neighbors can park their cars. So it seems like this is an ideal spot for you, right there, to park your cars in the front, or even on the side of the house.
Yeah, yes, sir. We've been really fortunate, and I would like to take credit like that was planning. We were put in a really good spot there, because I do agree all the houses have lots in the back. There's some houses there around that dense supply parking lot, and there's also some garages there where people park.
Right.
There's a substantial amount of parking.
And then there's not that many houses around for everybody else it seems pretty empty with when you're driving around and looking at it, there's a lot of empty
reality,
spots.
There's no houses
Right.
within that area that would use in front of us for parking.
Right.
So,
Everybody has it behind their house.
in summary, parking's not really an issue
No.
I mean, no.
for the folks who are living there. Okay, all right.
I mean, the requirement is for you to have 8, since you have 5 units, 8 parking spots. And,
Well,
it's 1.5
these-
times, and it appears, and let me just finish, it appears there's enough 8 spots there in front of the place to house that, so.
Agreed, and that, the other four did not have the requirement for the parking. They're just residential, single-family residential
okay.
units. This one is the only one that, because it's a 2-unit, kicks in the parking requirement of
Okay.
1.5.
And there's no one in the audience who wishes to offer any question or comment on this case? Hearing none. Comment, discussion?
Seems straightforward. Thanks for doing what you do.
Yeah, thank you.
I had no problem with the, commercial, adding in the office space on the
Yeah.
first floor. I think that's a
think-
great idea.
Yeah,
And I'm very happy that you did it, because you could have just done it yourself and not even bothered with the zoning board. So thank you for doing the honest work, so, thank you.
I think the only thing I want to say is that it's a terrible problem. Somebody ought to do something. How many times every day does somebody say that? And thank goodness, once in a while, the right people come forward and do something about it. And I think this is a case of that. Joe suggested that you thank us for our time. I think we should thank you for what you're doing
Yes,
to help the
definitely.
city.
Appreciate you.
There are 2 variance requests. Would someone like to make a motion?
I got it. In the case of 2-2024-Z-V, for the property at 469 West Hope Avenue, I move to approve a variance for the required number of parking space as defined in section 1304.01-03.001.d in the UN2 zoning district.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Ms. Jenkins and seconded by Mr. Nugent to approve the variance to the required number of parking spaces. Calling for the vote, Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Jenkins, aye. Mr. Nugent?
Aye.
Nugent, aye. Mr. Holman?
Aye.
Holman, aye. And Williams, aye.
I recommend to approve a variance to allow an apartment combined with commercial as defined in section 1304.01-03.001 in the UN2 zoning district.
I'll second.
Again, it has been moved by Ms. Jenkins and seconded by Mr. Holman to approve the use variance to allow an apartment combined with commercial. Calling for the vote, Ms. Jenkins?
Was seconded by Mr. Nugent.
Did I not say that?
You said me, so.
Oh, sorry. Seconded by Mr. Nugent. Calling for the vote, Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Jenkins, aye. Mr. Nugent?
Aye.
Nugent, aye. Mr. Holman? Holman, aye. And Williams, aye. Again,
Very much.
Appreciate you guys.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank-
Ready for the last one?
Ready.
Okay, the last case this evening is case number 3-2024-Z-V. The applicant in this case is also Joe Musso of 43 North Duke Street, York, Pennsylvania, 17401. The owner of the subject property is J&A Property Investments of 750 East Princess Street, York, Pennsylvania, 17403. The subject property is located at 750 East Princess Street, which address is located in the the RS2 Single Family Attached Residential Conservation District of the City of York. The applicant seeks a variance to permit an exterior sign which exceeds the size permitted by the City of York zoning ordinance. The application was reviewed by the planning staff of the City of York. The planning staff recommends approval of the requested variance. The case was heard by the City of York Planning Commission on January 8, 2024. By way of unanimous vote, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the requested variance. The record before the board this evening consists of the application itself, the deed to the subject property, an aerial photo of the subject property, 8 pages of plans and elevations of the proposed use, I guess it's now the existing use, is that right, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, the existing use, and 5 pages of photos of the subject property and the surrounding area.
Thank you. Tell us about this beautiful store.
This, I don't know if any of you recall, I did put pictures in here of the old Pax Market that this used to be. That was truly a mom and pop operation. This lovely young lady back here and her father purchased the property about 3 years ago and have transformed it into a grocery store, not a mom and pop store. It's a full-fledged grocery store in a part of our city that is a food desert. And it was very handy when it was Pax. And at this point now, they are going to offer this neighborhood and the surrounding area a full-fledged grocery store. And in order to really be able to do that, they need a sign that's appropriate for the use. And that's what we're requesting today. You have pictures in here from the sign manufacturer, how it will be created and attached to the building. And I also included pictures of the interior, just to let you know, what a beautiful store this is. And I'm hoping that all of you can get out there and take a look at this. What they've done is just a wonderful situation. So we're asking that the allowed to be a larger sign than is permitted in the RS2. This property is about 18,000 square feet, which is one of the largest parcels in the area. The building itself is over 8,000 square feet. So it was not the type of unit that could be developed residentially, but it has it's a great structure for the use that is in there right now. The area, let me go back to that little map. The location is such that the building itself is set back from the street, as is the area where the sign will be. It's over 100 feet over to the nearest residential development. There's only just one house on the corner across, Sherman. And across Princess, there's a couple of commercial there and some residential down further than that. But even those will be over 100 feet away. Actually, they'll be 85 feet away from the sign. The ones across Sherman will be over 120 feet away. So we don't think it will be onerous. We think it'll be a reasonable accommodation for this use. I'd like to bring Natalie up here, and this is Natalie Marquez. She is Natalie of JNN Property Investments, with her father being the J. So come on up and just say hi and let them know what you've been up to there and answer questions.
Hey, my name is Natalie Marquez. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. So as you all know, the store is open now. The biggest thing that we've come upon is when people pass by, they don't see a sign, they still don't know what it is, or people walk in and they're like, I didn't know you guys were open, because nothing tells them we're Extra Savings Supermarket. So we added this. Pretty sure you guys are familiar with what Pax used to look like. I don't know inside and out. I could tell you, bringing that down needed work. It was quite interesting walking in there. So with remodeling it, it took us about 3 years to remodel. We initially thought we're gonna buy the location, keep it open, and remodel as we go. Again, walking in, no, it was a quick shutdown the day we closed in, and took 3 years to see what it needed and how we were gonna kind of fix this store around. We just wanted to add something more modern, new to the area. It is a really beautiful area. There's a lot of residents around. In those 3 years, I could tell you more than, that first week that we were gonna open, people would walk in thinking it was open, and we'd be like, oh, we're sorry. So a lot of people would come in and say, come on, you guys need to open. This is like the closest store to us. So now that we're able to do that, we just want to give the community around us the best that we can give them, and an opportunity to feel welcome where they come in. Because that was a feedback from the previous store that it didn't feel like a welcoming store. So with giving them that close store, we want them to feel welcomed. We want them to feel at home. With having so many different cultures come in, we want them to have the opportunity to say, hey, I buy this product, would you guys be able to find it? And of course, we want to be the person to find it for them.
Well, this is great because I pass by there every couple of weeks and I didn't, I'm clueless. So, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
I got a question on.
Yeah?
On the sign itself, just looking at the pictures, the proposed views, is the colors, the white and the green, what you're proposing? Is
Yes,
that-
yes.
Okay,
So,
it is those colors, and
yes.
it's a cool looking sign. It makes it, with the gray building, because I, again, Googled your place. And
Yeah.
my wife actually went by a couple times. She says, there's a place that's really neat looking right down, because we live right down the street from you guys.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to it. I think it'll be our closest grocery store other than one of the corner places around where we are.
Definitely, definitely.
But yeah, so it's green and white. They do light up, because I think I saw electrical diagrams in here for the package. And I think that was the only question I had.
And,
Yeah.
and just so that the motion can be made appropriately, you're looking for a variance to permit a sign up to 65 square feet? Is that,
Yes, that is
Would
correct.
that do it?
Yeah,
Yep,
that is
okay.
correct. I don't know if you've passed by that area.
I do,
But
yeah.
it does have the perfect, it was created to have the perfect spacing for the sign. And then with the lighting, they are controlled lighting. I don't know if you've passed by at night nowadays. It looks like a baseball field in there. So it's not gonna be anything like a disco at night. It's gonna be something that we can dim or something like that.
And no problems with neighbors. I mean, there's.
We have not.
I
Neighbors,
just, I know somewhere I read something where it says the signs really are not gonna be facing towards any neighbors, and so hopefully it won't blind them if they have their windows open or something like that.
no. So again, if you pass by now at night, like the lights we currently have, which is what is required to kind of keep that area lit, they're like a baseball field, and we have had no issues with them. The feedback, people are just happy that we're open and they have somewhere close, especially with days like today at night where it goes like at 16 degrees. They're like, at least it's close enough, because a lot of neighbors don't have vehicles or walk to us.
So in this diagram here, it shows how the sign is on the existing, so it wouldn't stick out like any further than what that already structured is there?
No, it's actually gonna be mounted on, so if you look at this right here, it's gonna be exactly like that, just mounted onto the wall.
To the wall.
Nothing sticking out.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions for me?
Only question I had,
and is it just one sign, or is it
There's
three.
three? Yeah, and each one is 65.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, just wanted to make sure we were getting the,
It's basically the same thing, yeah, it's right in there.
Just for clarification, when you talk about the existing lighting, most of that's just lighting up the parking
Parking lot.
Yeah, it's just the parking lot, that's attached to the building, but it lights up just the parking lot right now.
You got any questions?
Your merchandise line is going to, I suppose, for York, is going to include some Hispanic items?
Yeah, yes. So we do have kind of the basics. We do have we have an aisle that's like the international. So we do have a lot of Hispanic food. That area, we're still figuring it out because yes, there is a lot of Hispanics, but we found that we've have a mix. It's very mixed. So we're figuring it as we go, but as of now, there is a lot more Hispanic food.
Do you have any other shopping supermarkets?
So, separate from us, we are partnered, but it's separate from this one with Seatown
Okay,
and Bravo.
okay.
The Bravo's in, yes, York, yep.
And Seatown's right down the street from where I'm at, so I know that one well too.
Yep.
So, okay. Other questions?
Any other questions,
All set.
comments? Looks good to me.
Looking
you,
forward to
guys.
stopping by.
Definitely. So with the sign, we'll definitely send out an invitation. If we do get approved, we'll do a better opening because again, we did one, but people still drive by and they're like, we don't know what this is.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for allowing me to stand here.
Okay.
Would someone like to make a motion?
In case number 3-2024-Z-V for the property at 750 East Princess Street, I move to approve a variance for commercial signs exceeding the ordinance size and regulations as defined in section 1308.08.A2 at the address just mentioned.
And you might want to just say,
65 square
yeah,
feet.
exactly. Yep,
Okay.
Yep.
Is that a limit, or is that up
to-
to 65 square feet?
Right,
For
right.
3 different signs?
Yep.
Got it.
I'll second.
Now, that's each sign.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, each 3 signs.
Okay. It's been moved by Mr. Holman, seconded by Mr. Nugent, to approve the variance for commercial signs, to allow up to 65 square feet for each of 3 signs. Calling for the vote, Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Jenkins, aye. Mr. Nugent?
Aye.
Nugent, aye. Mr. Holman?
Aye.
Holman, aye. And Williams, aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you at your store.
That concludes our agenda. Now, we have a couple of items that hopefully there won't be any long nominating speeches or parades.
I don't
or-
think that any of this needs to be on the transcribed
No,
record,
no,
so I
no.
would say that, yeah. I think you are all
Thank
set.
We are adjourned.
Yeah, we're officially adjourned from our agenda.